Well, good morning, everybody. It's so wonderful to be with all of you. Thank you so much to this council for all of the work that you're doing, giving us recommendations in how we're going to reform FEMA and this agency into an agency that better responds to people and is there on their worst days during a time of crisis and disaster. President Trump has from the very beginning talked about FEMA and its role and the responsibility that it has in the continuation of government services for our country's national security, but also in how it supports local emergency management and states that are impacted by disaster situations. He's talked repeatedly, and you've heard me discuss as well, about the fact that FEMA needs to be more responsive, that this agency as it exists today needs to be eliminated and reformed into an agency that is supporting our local and state officials that are there on the ground and responsive to the individuals that are necessary to help people be healed and whole through these situations. I'm so excited that you get the chance to enjoy Oklahoma City. In that great state of Oklahoma, you've got a fantastic governor, Governor Stitt. It's great for you to be hosting everybody, and your hospitality, I'm sure, is amazing. That is a wonderful city filled with cowboys and the Western way of life and businessmen and women who love America. So I wish I could have been there today, but we've been working here in DC on safety and security and also bringing some peace to the streets of Washington, DC, and partnering with the president on what we can do to bring reforms to other parts of Homeland Security to be prepared for big events that are coming. And so it's been a busy week. Otherwise, I would love to be with you today talking about the reforms for FEMA that are so critically important. I do want to thank Governor Phil Bryant as well for his leadership. He's been absolutely fantastic and working so hard, having, I would say, hundreds and hundreds of hours and phone calls, gathering information, feedback from different leaders, local, state, but also senators and congressmen on what their reforms would be, so that when we get to the end of this council's role, that we have a product that we can really present to the president and to Congress that will make sure that FEMA is responsive, that it's responsive and that it's doing the role for which it was created. Again, every disaster should be locally executed. It should be state-led, and then the federal government is there to support. And that's the mission set that we need to continue to view this through as we go through all of the work that we do every day. I know the subcommittees have been busy working as well. Thank you for that and putting in the extra time. I 99% of the time, I believe you're meeting on a weekly basis to come up with specifics that we can implement right away. I do know we're going to hear some summaries out of leaders in the room, Governor Abbott, maybe Governor Youngkin as well, and Noem and some of the things that we've been going through as a country as far as disasters since January. Texas obviously was extremely devastating. Around the same time we saw New Mexico get hit, I had the chance to be there on the ground with the communities that were affected in both those states. And we're also still dealing with North Carolina and the families there that need help to continuing to be restored. This last weekend, on Saturday, we deployed another $28 million to North Carolina after 96 last week, and we'll continue to make that a priority, knowing how neglected they were under the previous administration. Listen, FEMA is much more responsive under President Trump to people's needs than it has been under previous administrations and President Biden. In fact, the data shows that we're over 100% more timely with dollars and with resources than any other time in the history of FEMA going back, is that we are responding quicker, deploying within hours to meet people on the ground with needs that they have. But also we need to make sure that as we do that, that we're being efficient with what the taxpayers have given us for resources. I sat with the president for several hours a couple of weeks ago and discussed 16 different disasters that we had open in this country and helped make decisions on getting resources out. Many of these disasters were still ones that have been open and needed to be handled and taken care of from previous years. And that is one of the things I'd like to charge your council with, is how long should a disaster be left open? How quickly should we deploy resources? And then how long can cases continue to be filed? That is one of the things that makes it difficult to deploy immediately, is when the termination date for a disaster goes on 15 to 20 years after the event has already occurred. The president believes that we should be in a disaster response portfolio and footprint but the long-term mitigation should not be something that the federal government is continuing to be involved in to the extent that it has been in the past. We are in the middle of hurricane season, and so we're working hard to continue to stay prepared for that and notifications. And we've got a couple of months here yet where we're still going to be working with our local leaders to make sure that everything is pre-deployed and in position for whatever storm may come our way, and that we can help people get through those difficult times. And we will be putting out a lot of information today on FEMA as well.